Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria Staten. Thank you for joining us for Monday's Muse, your weekly wellness dose. Today we have Grazie Prokopetz. We're going to talk about everything Ayurveda. Ayurvedic living is today's title for today's conversation. Let me go ahead and get our co-host on here. Oh, I see she has joined us. Hey, Grazie. I'm going to send you a request. Hopefully pretty smooth. But you're definitely in for a treat. I'm super excited to learn more about Ayurvedic living and everything that entails. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi. Hi,
Hi.
Victoria. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm trying to make this chat thing go away. There you go. All right. So I can see what's on my background. How you been? How was your weekend?
It's great. It was really good. I got to spend some time with my mom here, and she
that's
likes
so
to just
lovely.
kind of relax. So
That's so lovely. That's
yeah,
good.
how about you? How was yours?
Well, I had Ayurvedic classes all weekend. I'm exhausted. So I need a little pick-me-up right here, but
Awesome. Well, let me go ahead and introduce you.
yeah, but it was amazing. It was amazing. It was tiring, but so fulfilling as always.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear. So,
All right.
just to introduce Grazie, she's originally from Brazil, but has called Southern Florida her home for over 20 years. She graduated in fine arts and advertising and worked in that industry for 15 years. But a few years ago, started to get involved in and study Ayurveda. So her journey with alternative medicine started long before that. And she sought to help others through ancient healthcare systems and to aid her in a series of illnesses that she endured over the years. She testifies that not only in this ancient knowledge did she find the answers to the questions that modern medicine cannot answer, but that in finding and addressing the root causes of her ailments, which is amazing because I think so many times people look at, oh, I have a headache, let me take this medicine, or I have a stomach ache, let me take this medicine, or whatever, not to knock medicine. But we really have to get to the root of the issue so that we don't have to
always
the medicine. Yes. So thank you so
only
much.
Covering it up.
Yes. It absolutely just puts a Band-Aid on the issue instead of actually addressing it. So yes, I will turn the comments. Actually, I'm going to turn the comments back on. So that way, if people have questions. As we are talking, definitely feel free to put those in the comment box and we will address those. But I also like to throw out a quick disclaimer that we are not your doctor. She is not your Ayurvedic health coach or anything like that. Personally, maybe, but we can't address any specific personal questions. Maybe chat with her offline. I'll tag all of her information after the video is posted. So please advise with your own personal healthcare professional before making any changes to your lifestyle and to your diet, because we want to make sure these changes fit you and you personally, just fit you personally. Okay. So I like to throw that out there.
Yes.
But let's get started.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell the viewers and those that will watch the replay a little bit more about yourself, Grazie?
So you already gave a preview of what my life is, and right now I am an Ayurvedic health counselor, which means I coach and teach people how to live life and according to their original doshic composition, and we will talk about the doshas a little later, so hang on. So sit tight. And also and those changes are made through lifestyle, nutrition, herbs, meditation. It's a holistic science that actually goes to the root of the disease or the problem, the discomfort, whatever that may be, and it's personalized to each individual. It's not, there's no recipe or template. Here's an Ayurvedic diet. Here's an Ayurvedic, lifestyle for everyone. That doesn't exist. There are rules that are, common for everyone, like eat naturally and then so forth. But, a treatment plan is very personalized to that individual. But, yeah, and like you said, you know, like you mentioned, is that's something that I always sought. I always sought alternative medicine because, you know, I had these ailments, I had autoimmune disease, I had mental health issues, and also went to, you know, to modern, you know, day doctors. And what I heard from most of them, more often than not, I would hear that, you know, this condition, because I'm curious and I want to know what's going on with my body. So I'm like, why is my body doing this? Why is my body responding this way? Why is my mind doing this? I can't remember. And they not only told me that, you know, unfortunately don't know, but also that, you know, you're gonna have to live with this. You're gonna have to learn to live with it. And that didn't satisfy me at all. That
Right.
didn't, you know, I had to go back and understand the root cause of the disease and what was causing it. And that was why I, you know, decided to take Ayurveda seriously and really study it. And since it has helped me overcome so much, I couldn't keep it just to myself. I just had
Yeah.
to study it and keep, you know, helping my fellow brothers and sisters out there. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and there's nothing more powerful than like if you have a personal testimony to it, you know, for how it's
correct,
changed your life. That's
correct.
pretty awesome. So what do you actually do as an Ayurvedic health coach? Can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So what we do, it's probably better for us to start talking about the doshas soon, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention doshas very frequently, because that's the basis of Ayurvedic medicine. First of all, I like to introduce Ayurveda a little bit because we've been
Yeah.
talking about it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Ayurveda is the traditional healthcare system of India, right? It's believed to be over 5,000 years old or even more. And it encompasses both preventive and therapeutic methods and treatments and protocols, right? And it also encompasses all the physiological aspects of the body, all the organs, and treatment for the diseases that affect those organs in those functions. So it's a very holistic, you know, healthcare system. And what, you know, I do as an Ayurvedic health counselor is help each person be the best that they can be within their own composition, with their own um, unique being. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and that's
So,
all through, and that's all through, and like I said, lifestyle, meditation, nutrition is the most important, and also herbs. So
okay. Okay. And then we will get right into the doshas, but I do have a quick question
of
to
course.
kind of go off of, to play off of that.
Uh-huh.
So I know that you said you were facing some autoimmune and mental illness. Um, how did you even find alternative medicine and Ayurveda to even want to delve into that more to then in
Okay.
turn help you?
Yeah, well, one things I did was, you know, acupuncture and massage and nutrition and herbs and that, but Ayurveda medicine per se, like this specific, you know, this specific medicine, it was through my mom. Happy Mother's
Oh,
Day to all the moms that are there. So my mom, she is amazing. She's just this powerhouse of human being, and she after she retired, she went back to study psychology and Ayurvedic medicine. And that's how I know she didn't go as in depth as I did go, and is still going. She was more on the psychological side, but she has knowledge of it, and she would teach me, and that just piqued my interest.
yeah.
And yeah,
That makes me,
that's how I was introduced to it. But then I started researching on my own and reading books and so forth. But how I started to know about it. Yes.
yeah, that's cool. And that's funny you say that too, because it makes me think about the other day. My little sister is really good at like organizing and like decorating and stuff, and my mom is too. So that kind of made me think about how you were saying your mom was kind of doing Ayurveda, and then you kind of took it to the next level, and that's ultimately what I would think parents would want. So that's
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that, because it made me think. My mom was talking about how good my sister is at decorating. She's like, "But you're better than me," and that's what we want. I want
Yeah.
my children to
The
be better.
legacy, right?
Yes, yes. So that's
Correct. Yeah.
cool. That your mom was doing the same thing, and you know you continued it. Yeah, that's amazing. So let's talk about the doshas. Tell us
Yeah.
more about the doshas in Ayurvedic medicine.
Yes.
What does that mean and what are they and all
Yeah,
that?
yes. Hopefully, just bear with me, okay?
Yeah.
So to talk about the doshas, I usually go back a little bit and to think about, native medicine and traditional Chinese medicine and the healers, of the past and the Vedic sciences. They all have something in common, which is they use the elements, fire, earth, water, and air, or, space also in Ayurveda, to understand the physiological aspects of the body. Because to me, it's like they knew how fire behaved. They knew what it did, that it's hot, and they know how it felt like, how it behaved, and what it did. And in earth, as same with water, and they used those elements to explain what was going on with the body, right? Mm-hmm. And so does Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, there are 5 elements: fire, earth, water, space, and air. And those 5 elements are coded into 3 biological forces called the doshas, which is vata, made of air and space, pitta, made of fire and water, and kapha, made of water and earth. So those are the 3 biological forces, the doshas. It's called the tridoshic theory. And each dosha is responsible for certain physiological functions in the body. For instance, vata is responsible for all the movement in the body. So circulation, nerve conduction, respiration, anything that moves in the body, it's vata. So vata takes care of that. Pitta is responsible for the transformation in the body. So digestion, metabolism, anything that turns one thing into another, basically. Kapha is responsible for the structure in the body and the lubrication in the body. So immunity, joint lubrication, all the linings in your whole body, that's kapha. It keeps everything together, right? So we all need all these 3 functions in the body. We all need digestion and lubrication and circulation. So what it is, each person has a different proportion of those doshas, right? But most people have one that's more pronounced. Vata, and when you say somebody is a vata dosha, it doesn't mean they don't have all the 3 doshas. They do. They have a proportion of the 3, but they are more vata, right? Mm-hmm. And same thing with pitta and kapha. Some people even have 2 that are kind of close together. And then you have vata pitta or kapha vata. So kapha vata, and but which means, like, for instance, what does that mean? Means that, for instance, if a person is predominantly pitta, it means those functions that pitta is responsible for, the fire is responsible for, the transformation, are going to be more pronounced in that person. For instance, they probably going to have most likely, they're going to have fast metabolism, a really strong digestion, right? So that's because their pitta is really strong. And same thing with kapha. Kapha, if they have a lot of kapha, they have strong immunity and endurance and so forth. So yeah, those are the 3 doshas. So when we say, so and so is pitta, yes, they are mainly pitta, but they all have the 3 doshas. And that's important. That's important to know that, because that is the basis of the Ayurvedic knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I know that one thing that we wanted to talk about was disease progression.
Yeah.
Or do you prefer to? Okay.
No, that's good. No, that's
okay.
good.
Okay.
It's a good segue, because one must think, why do we need to know the doshas? Why is it important? Mm-hmm. Why? Because your dosha composition, your proportions of these 3 doshas, and there are infinite proportions out there, right? Mm-hmm. That is your point. The one you're born with, that is your point of balance. That is your point of equilibrium. That's where you're living your best life. That's when you're best you, both physically and mentally. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, because of erratic lifestyles and poor nutrition and stress and many other things, trauma and other things, those doshas, they go out of balance. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give one example. There are hundreds of examples that are out there. But let's say a pitta person is the one with the fast metabolism that we spoke about, right?
Yeah.
And they're stimulated. They're usually go-getters. They're really like, you know, type A personalities. They're really sharp and focused, and they keep stressing themselves or uh, engaging in competitive things and eating stimulant foods like spicy food or coffee and things like that. So they're literally adding a lot of fuel to their fire, which is already high, right? So
Yeah.
that would take their dosha out of balance.
Mm.
And it is just, this is just one example, and it goes for all the doshas, right? um and once the doshas come out of balance, that's when the disease start. That's when the disease progression in Ayurveda start. In Ayurveda, there are 6 stages of the disease, of the disease progression, right? So it starts with that imbalance. But what does that look like in your body? So the first stage of the disease, you start to feel subtle difference in your body. Maybe your skin is a little drier. Maybe you don't go to the bathroom as often, or it looks, whatever comes out looks different. Even number 1 or number 2 look a little different, smell a little different. Or maybe your eyes are a little drier, hair, nails, like subtle difference that most of us just usually brush it off and we'll just say, oh no, it's because I traveled, or it's because I didn't eat right, or it's my period, whatever. So if that goes unchecked, it goes into stage 2. That's when you start to feel discomforts like bloating or acidity, or constipation, or really migraines, tiredness. Like when you start really feeling something that's off. Again, we often just brush it off and attribute it to, oh, it's age or it's the weather, whatever. And then it goes to stage 3, which basically all those symptoms start to become more frequent and more intense, right? And that's when you really start like, should I see someone? And then it goes to stage 4, which is manifestation. All these stages have names, but I'm not gonna bore you with the lingo. I'm just gonna make it like more in the way that anybody can grasp. And that's stage 4 is when you go to the doctor and they actually tell you the diagnosis, like you have diabetes, or you have IBS, or you have fibromyalgia, or anything from the host of diseases that are out there. So yeah, that's when that happens. And Ayurveda can really, really reverse most of the times. It also depends, and each person is different. That's age involved and many other things. But reverse the disease until that point. It's easier for Ayurveda, an Ayurveda protocol, reverse it. Come back to health. Because then on stage 5, then that's when tissue and organ damage start to happen. And then stage 6, it's when it's chronic. It's when it's most likely not reversible, and it's just only palliative care and symptom relief. So we really want to catch it at the beginning, right? When those subtle changes happen that we don't more often than not, we don't pay attention to. Really want to go to that beginning.
Yes. That's why I try to tell people to just listen to their body. Because just like you're mentioning these different things, and dis-ease is a dis-ease in your body. If you break the word, your body is communicating with you all the time. And a lot of times, if you listen and become more in tune with your body, then you can determine what you need and help prevent, the bad things from happening further along the way, or get the help that you need.
And it's never nothing. If there is a change in your body, if you act a certain way, if something is off, it's never nothing. It's always, something's about to happen. It might be next month, it might be 10 years from now, but it's happening.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
So my next question, a little bit, I guess, back to the doshas for like each dosha type. Are there food combining rules, that people could live by or put into practice? Like you mentioned, Pita.
Pita.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the one who had the high metabolism?
Yes.
Maybe? Okay.
Yes. Usually. That's a general rule. Usually. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, are there any food combining rules or anything that you like to kind of discuss?
Yeah, because everything is about gut health in Ayurveda. It always starts in our digestive system, or in the mind. You know, diseases have many you know, sources, roots, but if it's not trauma, if it's not nothing really physiological, you know, a defect or anything like that, it starts in the mind or in the mouth, in the gut, right? And one of the things that Ayurveda teaches is, and this is in one of the reasons I chose this subject of food combining, is because it's universal. It's not to a particular dosha, so it's an advice that that can be given without that is for almost everyone, which is the improper food combining in Ayurveda is called Virudahara. So for once, why is it improper? Because it's taxing on your digestive system, right? And in Ayurveda, like I said, gut health is really important, and you want to make sure that the person is not only what you eat, but what you can digest properly and assimilate properly. It can be eating fruit and veggies all day, but if your body is not be able to break it down properly and turn it into nourishment, and that's a problem. You're not feeding your system, right? So I'm sorry, I'm going back in circles, but I'll get that. I'll get to the food combining. So what happens with the food combining? It's because sometimes some foods don't agree with each other, and they really taxing the system, and they diminish your digestive strength. So those are, for once, to make it easier. I know there are probably some Ayurvedic practitioners there, and there's a lot of that's a lot of information right there. But I broke it down in three just to make it easier and to talk about the most common things that people usually eat. One is fruits. Better eating with other fruits, especially not with dairy. It's yogurt and fruit. It's also very taxing in our system. The other thing is dairy. Dairy is best eaten alone because it's also very it tends to ferment with other substrates, right? And the other one is two animal proteins together, or too close together in the same meal, or really close together, like meat and cheese, or cheese and eggs, you know, things like that. They're better eaten separately. And those are the three that are more common, and that I can safely tell you that if you identify those things on your diet, on your everyday, especially if you're eating something like that every day, I will definitely take a look and, you know, separate them and see how you feel. Because my story with it is, like, sometimes I'll feel really bloated and I wasn't sure what it was. And then when I learned Ayurveda, it was the milk and bread together. As soon as I separated them, the bloating was gone. So I mean, it's something. Sometimes it's as simple as that. So those are the things I can safely tell you that things that you should watch for.
Yeah, it's crazy how important it is to watch what foods you're combining, and just as you said, when you realize what impacts you. So I'm the same, actually. Dairy and gluten, or just like bread and cheese, like together, is not good for me.
Yeah, because you're listening to your body, right?
Yeah. And I kind of, in my schooling, I've learned more about food combining and the importance, and how, you know, maybe you feel sluggish. For me, that was a big thing, was eating certain types of foods, and then I'm ready to go to sleep, and like all of my energy is zapped, or then, you know, I'm reaching for caffeine or whatever. But I know if I don't combine these foods this way, then I'm not going to lose my energy, and it's not going to be spiking my blood sugar, and I'm going to stay steady all day long, you know, until I'm time to go to bed.
And it's funny that, you know, all the Vedic texts, you know, the Vedic literature from thousands of years ago is agreeing with science and experiments that are being done today, saying, those enzymes just don't go together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
totally right. So that's a great segue into talking about gut health
Mm-hmm.
and Ayurveda. So I think you
Mm-hmm.
kind of touched on that, but is there
Mm-hmm.
anything else you would like to add about that, or maybe even leaky gut syndrome? You know, something that's
Yeah.
really big right now.
Yeah. So, like I said, gut health is really, really important. We know how many, that we know because it's a hot topic. There are neurons in our digestive system. There's the microbiome. That's it. Just basically ruling our life, ruling our lives, right?
Right.
And I invite even you to go into like Google academic and just Google like gut health and brain, or gut and brain axis, or gut and heart axis, gut and skin axis. You're gonna find something. So there's a
Right.
connection, right? Because it's all you eat, and again, what you can assimilate. And the other hot topic is leaky gut syndrome. And I really like that because it goes hand in hand with Ayurveda, because it's actually going to the root cause of the diseases, right? And what it is, for those who don't know, I know most people in the health, into health might have heard about it. It's when your tight junctions in your intestines, you have your intestines, the lining, and you have each cell is just right next to each other. And what happens in leaky gut is when those tight junctions, they bound them together, they start to get loose. So you have to literally have holes in your gut. um, so what happens is the barrier that's supposed to stop, pathogens and toxins and other things that are not supposed to go to your bloodstream, those things start to leak out, literally out of your gut into your body. And it is very, very common. If we're not like carefully watching our diet, it's possible that you have it at some degree. And the most important thing is that it causes all of the diseases out there. If it's not causing it, it's triggering it. Again, I invite you to go in Google academic and type in whatever condition you have, and gut and leaky gut, and see if there's a connection. I'll tell you, 90% of the time there is a connection.
Yeah.
And it's important to take a look at that and address that, because it causes even like anything from autoimmune disease to mental health to whatchamacallit, diabetes and chronic inflammation. So it's really important. It's something really important to address. And
Yes, it is.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it is crazy how many different disorders are linked to it, and people don't even know. For me personally, I had leaky gut syndrome. I had no idea until it was healed, and thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I faced it for years, and
Wow.
it caused my iron to be deficient. It caused me to, of course, have digestion problems, um, some skin issues. I mean, there's just so many different diseases
Yeah.
or syndromes or whatever that are
Yeah.
linked, that start in the gut. Like you was saying, our microbiome is basically like our second brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so, our mind and gut connection is so interconnected. And yeah, I'm glad that modern Western medicine is considering, gut health to be more
Yeah.
important now, because
Yeah.
it's really, really important. And it impacts our daily lives. So yeah, like she said, go search that out, and, get a good pre-probiotic
Yeah.
from a good, reliable source. If that's what your body needs at the moment, because, everybody is different, and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. But so on the same note, how can we use like Ayurvedic practices? Do you have any tips or anything that you would like to share for those to help prevent, or maybe even towards healing leaky gut?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start with like an Ayurveda protocol, because, like I
Okay.
said, it's very customized, and if that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
if you decide to see an Ayurvedic practitioner, what they will do, they'll determine your dosha, they determine the imbalances of your dosha, your improper, and address that, and address also toxin accumulation. They cleanse it, your tract from any toxic accumulation. Then the protocol will just feed you and help heal those junctions, you know, that are supposed to be protecting your the nutrients and the things that are not supposed to go to your system. So that's what an Ayurvedic practitioner will do. But if there's something you want to do right now at home, like this is, I want to change my lifestyle. I want to start thinking about gut health and leaky gut. Do I have it? I have, sometimes the symptoms can go from like migraines to really anything, honestly. Each person is really different, but I would recommend, for one, if you don't have a pencil or a pen, just get it. I'll give you a minute. One is gradually eliminating processed and ultra processed foods from your diet. All those things, those ingredients we can't pronounce, um, that's not, that's what causes it, the chemicals. Yeah, try to go as natural as possible. Even like eating with the seasons, making sure that you're eating fruits of the seasons to make sure that they're not artificially brought up. Yeah, and I'll just, as naturally as organic as possible is one big one, but don't do it overnight. Don't do it abruptly. Do it gradually, because you get sick from doing it overnight. You have to you have to retrain your microbiome to, and feed it and wean it out slowly. The other thing that's really big in Ayurveda is really avoiding leftovers, and like food and heating up food, microwaving from 2-3 days ago. Ayurveda teaches to do everything fresh. I know today lifestyle, it's impossible to cook every day for a lot of people, but as much as you can, don't eat things that are in the fridge for a couple of days or a few days. Those are, they lose their prana, which we call prana, the life force, right? So you're not ingesting life anymore. You're ingesting dead food, basically. So, and the other thing is the food combining that we spoke about, and that goes along with chewing. I think those things are important because you need to break down the substrate, whatever the food. You need to break it down properly, like we said, in order to be absorbed by your system. You assimilate, digest it, assimilate, and absorb it. If you're eating things that are too taxing in the system, or not chewing properly, and the food is either not digested or partially digested and sits in your gut, what happens with that is going to create a bacteria overgrowth, and then it's going to create toxins, and it's going to create that leaky gut syndrome, and then it's going to leak in. And so it's a whole process. So making sure the food is digestible by chewing and not taxing, obviously not overeating either. Eating in about, I think Ayurveda says, eat about 60 to 7% and of your digestive capacity. Sorry. And making sure your stomach has room to move around, because there's a mechanic interaction going on there. You need space to move that food, and making sure it breaks down properly. And within that 60% another 15 to 20% of moistness, from the food or from sipping something. And the other important thing, in the same note, is to avoid cold liquids, especially during meals, because that shuts down your digestion, because your digestion needs acidity and heat. Literally, it's heat inside there. And if you pour cold water on the top of it, you're shutting it down. You're just reversing it. You're making your body work extra hard. And also, in the same note, the goal is the same, and just different tips. Eating stressed or eating rushed or multitasking while you're eating, your body is busy eating, digesting. Don't do anything else. That's enough. That's a lot on the body. So no screens, no nothing. Just make sure that's the only thing you're doing is eating and chewing, making sure that, because that's what makes you you. If you're not taking care of that, this is just the first step to really take care of yourself. I think there's another one. Adding digestive spice to every meal. because I practice that, and again, the same purpose, the same reason. There's cinnamon, rosemary, cumin, black pepper, sage, so many. I think there's even like a highlight on my stories, nutrition tips. There's some spices there for each dosha and so forth. If you want to take a look. So that's a big one that anybody, and also important, it is to vary your meals, not eat the same things every day, because we all need all the vitamins, all the B vitamins, all the A, B, D, all the C's and antioxidants and folate, and we need that. Our brain needs that. Our body needs that. Even the tight junctions, there's some certain proteins that keep them together, right? So we need all. So try and vary your meals as much as possible to make sure that your body is getting the nourishment and the nutrients. I know there's nothing new here. I don't think there's nothing new here, but I think people underestimate the power of these small things in the daily life.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you mentioned, I was actually going to ask, and you said it, about not drinking cold water or a cold drink, which is something that obviously we're so accustomed to, especially you go out to a restaurant and you have your ice water on the table, and then they're offering you something else that's cold. But yes, that kind of counteracts what your body's trying to do to digest. But that's very interesting, because I read a book recently by Vani Hari, actually, the Food Babe, if you've not heard of her. She is awesome, but she talked about one of the things that she does is she'll drink like a warm tea or just water, room temperature with no ice, with her meals, because of what you just said, because of digestion, how that aids in digestion. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's fine if you have a little. I know it's not in our culture, and I know it's foreign. Like, oh my God, I drink hot tea during meals. Yeah, that is what's gonna happen. Especially ginger tea, and again, not for everyone, not all the time. But if you have a little bit of discomfort, sip some ginger tea a little before, and maybe a little sip after. But yeah, never cold. If it's a really hot day and you really need like a smoothie, just drink it like outside of the meals.
Right.
Yeah, but I wouldn't, if it's a habit, if it's an everyday habit, I'll definitely try and watch that and change that and see how you feel.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Grazie. But before we end, I like to always ask my co-hosts for a fun fact about themselves. So what is your fun fact that you would like to share?
There's nothing fun about me.
Yes,
I mean, everything is fun about me. How about that? Well, I don't know. I think it's I'm an artist. I paint, I draw, I illustrate, and I'm like, just recently I started to share some of my illustration on this account, because I only share on my other personal account. And I don't know, I mean, I'm just I do it for fun, and I don't know, it's just something I love doing. It's a meditation for me. So
yeah, well, that's awesome. See,
it's an outlet too. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. A good stress reliever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, well, awesome. So how can our viewers and replay watchers stay in touch with you?
Well, through this platform, Instagram is fine. Grazie _Ayurveda. Grazie is spelled Grazie, and I will have a website soon.
Awesome.
So it's just it needs to be right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
So,
great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I really, really loved it, the space, and I really love that you are bringing this, giving this platform to other, health professionals to talk about their findings and their health and their journeys and all of that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, yes, you're very welcome. I'm glad to be able to do so and have such great co-host. And actually, I meant to say earlier that we actually kind of met through Clubhouse.
Yes. Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. I haven't been in a while. I should go back. I keep saying, like, I go back. Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes, I know.
Yeah, this Valina, did you see any questions? I didn't see any questions.
No, I didn't, but I will definitely I will post a replay. So
Uh-huh.
if there are any questions,
No, no questions.
yeah, I will make sure that Grazie gets those. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Valina, yay.
yes, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming, for watching. And
Thank you.
yes, I will post the replay very soon, and also over on my YouTube channel. I'll make sure you get the link as well, Grazie. And all of her information will be linked on both places. So if you have any questions for her, please don't hesitate to reach out. But thank y'all for joining me for Monday's. Yeah,
Can I say just one thing? Because I
yeah,
know this questions comes up a lot.
yes,
And before we go,
yeah.
people want to know their doshas. Like, what's my dosha?
I
Right?
know.
That's and I encourage you to see an Ayurvedic practitioner near you. There are quizzes online that you can take. They're not very accurate because it's you. It's not a recipe. It has to be somebody that will see you for you, and the wholesome, the wholeness of the complexities that you are. So especially if you're suffering from something, don't self-medicate. Go see someone. It doesn't have to be me. Go see someone about it. Don't determine your dosha and then go consuming products that for that dosha. I would, especially if you're suffering from something, please, please, please see someone. And it doesn't have to be me. It's just happy that you are starting this journey. That's all I needed to say. Just a quick disclaimer. But
No, that's
yeah,
great.
okay.
That's yes, that's good because honestly, I was like, I've been thinking the whole time, which dosha am I?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Let me go look
yeah.
something up, but that's good.
We can
That's
talk
good.
later. Yeah,
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, thank you so much. And
thank
I
you.
hope you have a great rest of your Monday. And thank you
You
for
as
those
well.
watching and those
Thank
that
you,
will watch the
everyone.
replay. We'll see you next week.
See you
Bye.
next week. Bye.